My name is Paul O'Connor from Prosperoware, and the following is a short demonstration of Ascera Publisher for Worksite, which allows you to synchronize content between Worksite and SharePoint. To set the scene, I'm currently working in FileSite. I could be in DeskSite as well. We support FileSite and Worksite 8.5 or 9. I'm in a JP Morgan Chase workspace, and there's an attorney notes folder. Now this attorney notes folder hasn't got much anything exciting there. It's got a few Adobe files. But navigate across to here. I've also got a SharePoint site, and this is SharePoint 15, and I've got a JP Morgan Chase Bank SharePoint site as well. Go to Documents folder here, and with a folder Attorney Notes, which has got the same PDFs actually. And what I've done is I've actually created a synchronization between the attorney notes list in SharePoint and the one in Worksite. So first I'll show you how. While I'm here, go to my desktop, and I'm going to take this spreadsheet, and this could be a client saying that, okay, I can actually drag files here. So standard SharePoint feature, take this spreadsheet and drop it into the SharePoint site. The client financial summary, it's coming in as a name in the spreadsheet, and away it goes. First thing to notice is when I've dropped it in, the description has gone to client financial summary. The name is actually taken this document number, and that's because within SharePoint you can't have non-unique names. So we've done a mapping to help. There's a few little tweaks you have to do. So I've popped the document in there. I'm now going to go into Word, and as I'm going to show you a Ascera Publisher, this Word document I'm going to save into the workspace in Worksite. So click on File, Save As, and we've got JP Morgan Chase Attorney Notes, Ascera Publisher Product Features, and do a save here. That gives it a document number 3779 blah, and close that. Navigate back to FileSite. Here's a document, which obviously I've just created here, but the document which had been uploaded by a client into SharePoint has now got this document number. If we looked at the history of it, we've got the document that was actually published to SharePoint, added from SharePoint. So it's a little two-way process, because we'll take some metadata, obviously the document number, and we've posted that back to SharePoint. So we've shown that once a link has been established between a Worksite folder and a SharePoint site, it's very clear how kind of to bring the information across. The document Ascera Publisher, we'll navigate back to, probably just need to do a refresh. And here's a document there. So the new document I created Worksite a few minutes ago has now gone across to SharePoint. The client financial summary is here. That shows that once a sync is established, it's very easy. Users don't need any knowledge of how to do it. So I'm going to show you how to publish in the first place. We can look at a particular workspace, and we've added a few menu commands here. And one is to say, show me what has been published on this workspace. And there's only been the attorney notes folder published. From here I can navigate straight to that workspace. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take the pleadings folder, which has got a number of folders here, number of documents, sorry, and publish those. So I'm going to choose, right click and publish the folder. It identifies the target location based on either metadata or through a set of relationships you put yourself. I could have actually choose to manually navigate to a different site or even do a search to actually identify where I'm going to publish it, but I'm happy to publish it into this workspace. I'd like to create a new folder in the destination, so I'd like to create pleadings folder. we've only got attorney notes at the moment. Attorney notes is grayed out because there's already a link established there. Now I've got various publishing options. One is to do a one-way link, and that would take a link of the document and place it into the SharePoint site along with the metadata. But it would not be a first-class document. It would only be a link. You can't do any full text searching within SharePoint on there. Then we have a one-way copy or a two-way copy. One-way copy means basically I won't be doing any edits in SharePoint. The edits and modifications will be made within Worksite and they'll be published to the SharePoint list, and anything done in Worksite will go across to SharePoint but not vice versa. The two-way is what I just had before, where adding a document to SharePoint would come back into Worksite, checking out of SharePoint would come back in. I'm going to look at, in this case I do a two-way copy as well. And what do you want? Additions, modifications, deletions, and choose to publish. This folder, or in fact it could have been an entire workspace, could have hundreds of, it's only got half a dozen documents in there. So that has now gone ahead to get. So I could carry on working here, doing my normal work, navigating. And behind the scenes, there's a job being queued up to actually publish all those documents. So we look at the queue. There's queued items report. That shows me that the document's actually working at the moment. Is on its first try, and it's going to be navigating across to there. We'll come back and check that in a little while. In fact, if I clicked on documents here, the pleading folder has been created, and doubt if there's any documents in there. In fact, some of the documents have already come across, so we are moving quite quickly there. What I'd like to demonstrate though is that when we open that document, we created a document in SharePoint and it automatically went into Worksite and vice versa. And clicking on here, if I click and check a document out of here, that would check it out of Worksite. So chooses client financial summary. If I went to files, if I chose checkout, that document shows checked out here. We'll give it a minute. That document will be checked out of Worksite. So it's actually no one can make any changes within Worksite. If I check it out in Worksite, a different document, it will show there. But in fact, let's just go back and see whether that's sorted yet. Client financial summary. Do a quick refresh. And there it is, it's checked out, and the history will say checked out from SharePoint. That's all working as you'd intended. Check it back in and it will change. Any modification will be posted back across. But one thing we may want to do is, rather than actually check it out from SharePoint, we may say, well actually when I open it, these are for Worksite users, I want it to open directly from Worksite. So I've created a different view here. So clicking on Worksite users, here's a slightly view of the same thing from a Worksite user's perspective. I've got documents, but I'm actually showing the metadata here in more detail. Notice that the client, the matter, the class of document, all this information which when we added this document to SharePoint, it added it to Worksite and it's taken all this information back. These documents here, if I just open it direct from clicking, instead of checking it out from SharePoint straight away, it's opening it from Worksite. So now I've got a document in Worksite, version 1, and go File, make a change to it, Save As, New Version. So even though it's a first class document, we can extend it with metadata, etc. Within SharePoint, by taking the standard Worksite metadata, we can then enhance that by adding SharePoint metadata. As we can see here, go back to Worksite users again. We haven't gone to version 2 yet. Let's just do a refresh again. Taking its time refreshing. I've still got it checked out. That's probably why. I haven't checked it back in yet. that will change in a second, but we've got the metadata associated with the document. We can also add further metadata related to that document as well. Let's do a refresh again. It's just taking its time. Give it a minute. And obviously, if I clicked it on here, it would take me straight to version because that's how I launched the document in the first place. A few little settings to show you how it all works. First, I can see what has been published. A list of the documents, the pleadings, the legal research, whether it's active copy, the type. I can type in, say, client code or matter code and filter. Once I can actually point to, say, an entire workspace or an individual document and say delete from SharePoint or change the sync options. So it's very easy to remove any synchronizations, to unpublish, if you like, from the SharePoint side. The settings we look at. Obviously, we need credentials to connect to both Worksite and SharePoint. We have document settings and folder settings. Let's look at folder and workspace settings. So we talked about publishing to two different locations, and you can determine for each location, either the intranet or the extranet, what features are available. So folder linking, syncing, copies or two-way copies are applicable to both sides. And the publish folder document security, when I publish, do I want to apply the SharePoint security? So do the documents from Worksite want to, in SharePoint, reflect the SharePoint list security? Or do I want to take the Worksite security across? And if it's different at document level, do I want to bring those across, or do I only want to look at default security? So you've got the options there for security. Property configurations, you can say when it appears in SharePoint, which columns do I want, how do I want to rename them from their internal name to display name, and do I want to show an edit form to allow me to edit it in SharePoint as well. Just nipping back to this document again. We said, let's just summarize what we've shown and looked at today. We can synchronize documents, folders, and workspaces. Probably worth showing you synchronization of just an individual document. So I can click on a document, right click, and I could just publish a document. I can say where published as well. And it gives me a list of locations where that document's published to, so I can navigate straight to there. The security of the document, if I look within Worksite, it shows it was shared to external users. So you got a physical indication the document has been shared with Ascera and it's been gone to publisher. So you've got a good record there, knowing which documents have been synchronized. This is what is shown by this icon as well here. We've shown that you can publish them as workspace links. We can provide two methods of synchronization. We can import a new SharePoint document when we added that spreadsheet in. We've got the reports to track what's been published and monitoring, and we work two ways. That's basically the system. Very intuitive to use, very easy to publish. Thank you for your time, and that concludes the demonstration.